stories about the law firm that I work for. Can you hear me now? I have dozens of stories about the law firm that I work for. They are stories I have been dying to tell since the day I arrived, but held off telling for fear of reprisal, either from the lawyers themselves, who sue people for a living, or from the clients we claim to represent. However, it's a Saturday morning in mid-April. I've just woken up tired, even after taking Friday off, and I can no longer ignore how unhappy my life has become and how out of control everything has gotten. I don't recognize the person this job has made of me, and I know in an instant that I can't bring myself to work at this firm a day longer. So perhaps as a coping mechanism to codify this period of my life, or just as a way to tell you how utterly insane all of this is, I feel the need to unburden myself and shine a bit of light on this little cottage industry I've found myself trapped in for the past 2 years. You know the name of my law firm, even though you've never used their services. If you've ever been bored at home on a weekday and the TV was on, or getting your oil changed and enduring whatever bullshit 24-hour news channel they have on the waiting room, or if you don't have the ads turned off on Facebook, you've seen our law firm's advertisements. They go something like this. This is a medical alert for anyone who has taken the prescription drug Exceltro and had a serious bleeding event. Users of Exceltro have suffered from gastrointestinal bleeding, cerebral hemorrhaging, bleeding ulcers, or death. The FDA has issued a warning that Exceltro and other blood thinners can result in a serious bleeding event. If you or a loved one has suffered internal bleeding, cerebral hemorrhaging, or death as a result of taking this medication, call this number for a free consultation today. There are dozens of commercials from hundreds of law firms all over the country with that same message blasted in all 50 states. People call in by the hundreds every day to have a free consultation with a legal professional, and when they dial the number on the screen, they get me. The law firm handles, at this point, about 15 different claims for medications, medical devices, automobiles, or other seemingly benign products that are later discovered to have drastic, unforeseen risk and side effects. Roughly, the journey of our average client goes as follows. They take a medication or use a product and are seriously hurt by it in some way. If they didn't outright die, their lives are usually forever altered for the worse. While at home, unable to work or do anything that might be considered fun or useful, they see our commercial, call the number, and speak to me. After anywhere between a 2 and 20-minute conversation, depending on them, I determine that they qualify for one of our claims, get their personal information, and have a packet mailed out containing a questionnaire and a contract. The potential new client, or PNC, fills out the packet, usually after months of endless badgering from me on the phone, telling the story of their experiences, complete with a list of their doctors, hospitals, dates of usage and injury, social security number, current or previous welfare and bankruptcy status, and anything else to help put into context the tragedy of their lives and how the medication or product has played a part in it. And they mail the packet back to me. The packet arrives, is checked for any irregularities or missing information by me and my coworkers, and once given the thumbs up, the case is then farmed out to another law firm called a co-counsel to pursue working the case. If you haven't guessed yet, a majority of my workday is spent on the phone. People call in, I either qualify or disqualify them for claims. I send them paperwork and then call them once a week until we have the paperwork back. We are less a law firm and more a call center. There are people I have called and spoken to more times than I have my own mother. I have left hundreds of thousands of messages trying to subtly manipulate people into getting their paperwork in. I'm really good at it too. When the firm's IT guy was codifying certain metrics one day, he discovered that I had the second highest rate of returns on these packets, far ahead of people who have been there for over 10 years. My direct boss is a passive-aggressive man in his mid-40s who I will call Steve. Steve hates his life. Recently divorced after cheating on his wife, Steve spends his days being emasculated and belittled by everyone above him and used by everyone beneath him. His unhappiness makes him pitiful, and his spinelessness makes him frustrating. He walks around the office, grumbling under his breath about any number of injustices that he sees being levied against him, making no effort to stand up for himself or voice his concerns or seek any other employment opportunity that may be out there. Instead, he is a martyr in his own personal passion play, angrily keeping the office kitchen spotless and refusing to let anyone help, all the while saying, "No, it's fine, I got it. I'm just you guys' maid. Good times." Most days I pity him, but more and more days go by where I'm angry at him for taking out his shortcomings on us. Steve is one of the few alcoholics I've met who doesn't know he's an alcoholic. He once told me one of the saddest things I've ever heard from another human being. "The second I take a sip of alcohol, anything at all, I feel instantly better." He is unaware of how sad this sounds. My coworkers run the gamut on walks of life, but for the most part, everyone is pretty awesome. They make the job tolerable. With a few exceptions, I would be friends with a lot of these people in any scenario. They are all truly genuine people. Most likely, they're the only reason I've stayed as long as I have. The people who call in also run the gamut from hilarious to terrible to tragic. A lot of people who call in with the expressed interest of getting a quick buck from their suffering or the death of a supposed loved one. That's that. When they don't qualify, they get angry. Talking to strangers on the phone is the predecessor of an internet comment. There are no consequences for lying or being horrible to someone on the phone, and people can relish in ruining other people's days. I've lost count of the times I've been angered or genuinely hurt due to how horribly I've been treated. There are also people whose stories are impossibly horrific to hear. One product we file for, a mesh implanted in women whose internal organs began falling out of their vaginas due to hysterectomies or hard childbirths, become defective in such a way that it makes it prohibitively painful to have sex. Because of this, women call in whose husbands have left them after decades of marriage because they can't have sex. Another device we file for has resulted in people having to have a leg amputated due to staph infection. Other medications or devices cause life-altering chronic ailments like strokes, heart attacks, and various cancers. We started a new claim just the other day for a chemotherapy medication that causes permanent hair loss in women, something the attorney explained to me as a Benjamin Franklin condition. These are people who have been irrevocably damaged by their medical misadventures and are saddled with mounting medical bills because of it. Securing cash settlement compensation for them is the one good thing this law firm does. Calls come in from the mentally ill who see our ads while they're locked up in institutions and believe that we can help get them out. A man once called in claiming to be the son of Abraham Lincoln and the adopted heir of Queen Elizabeth. He told us his royalty checks from acting in the movie Car Wash were stolen by dead celebrities who look like him and are conspiring to keep him locked up in his mental institution where they are forcing him to take Respetrol, an SSRI antipsychotic medication that we advertise as filling for adolescent boys and young men under 30 who grow breasts due to heightened levels of hormone called prolactin. That's right, if you're a little boy who has a learning or behavioral disability like ADD, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, autism, or depression, you could be given a drug that has the risk to give you boobs. Because if you weren't already having a hard enough time making friends and fitting in, the pharmaceutical industry would like to give you, a middle school boy, your own personal pair of tits. Which brings me to the point of this story. This law firm and countless others like it exist in a cottage industry that makes money off of negligence and suffering. It starts with a company releasing a product that turns out to be harmful. The company learns about how harmful the product is and takes steps to hide this fact. Eventually, the harm is discovered through independent study prompted by reported cases of injury. A few scientific papers are released and a warning comes out, usually by the FDA, that this product has the risk to hurt people in unforeseen ways. Then the attorneys jump. They get some clients together, get a sense of what these cases look like, mock up an ad, and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to run this ad on every media outlet conceivable every 30 minutes all day long. Injured people call in, sign up for suits, the attorneys file their motions, and after anywhere between 1 and 5 years, settlements start getting awarded. The manufacturers of these products hand out hundreds of millions of dollars in settlements, the attorneys taking anywhere between 1/3 and 1/2 of each final settlement amount. And the product that damaged so many people's lives gets an updated label with a warning that it could cause adverse side effects. The product is still sold, still marketed. The attorneys are rich. The victims are paid off in most cases with a relative pittance, and no change has occurred in how these medications and devices are used. So of course, despite any real good that may be done from these law firms, it is far outweighed by the ultimate ineffectiveness of their actions and the bold-faced understanding that the entire litigation industry is a puddle into which money drains from the rich and poor alike. If it wasn't enough for you to think such a thing was disgusting by virtue of how it skims off the top of every settlement, not counting filing fees and other expenses, which are also paid out of the settlement to the detriment of the client, allow me to now introduce to you the final horrible piece of the puzzle, the settlement loan. When a client gets their information to us and we begin the filing process, they are able to contact a loan office, Peachtree for example, and borrow against an estimated amount they are likely to receive in settlement. When the settlement is reached, they pay the loan office back with interest. Usually this interest is enough to knock out any settlement amount they may have had left. And sometimes they are left with the bill they owe to the loan company. So even after all of what they went through and multiple years of having us prosecute this claim for them, they are left with yet another bill. This cycle is sad, yes. There aren't a whole lot of innocent people in it, but it's the way the system works. Someone needs to hold pharmaceutical companies and other corporations responsible when their products hurt people. These people need something to help them work their way out of the crippling medical debt that's been foisted upon them by an unfeeling system. Despite how terrible this industry is in both theory and practice, it needs to exist and will continue to do so. That being said, though, it is an industry trading on pain and making big money. And this pain is visited upon me daily over the phone by my boss and by virtue of my own compromised values and principles on what I need to make a happy life. So I'm leaving. I can't take it anymore. There's nothing I can do right now to change this system, nor would I even know where to begin doing so. But maybe at the very least, I can let people know about it, and maybe down the line, one of those people will have a solution. I know this story has gone on longer than I anticipated it to, but I would like to close with a light note. The following is a partial list of names I've saved in my 2 years working at this law firm. These are real names of real people who I really spoke to. So maybe when you're down, think of the fact that somewhere there is someone running around with an insane name given to them by parents who thought this name would perfectly suit their little bundle of joy. So without further ado, I would like to say thank you to the following people. Vince Badenhoop, Trevor Trusty, Carol Crumblin, Tarika Starfin, Telephus McKinney, Hudis Boyd, Simeon Storgor, Amelia Gastelbomba, those are weird names, man. Theodoric Trash, Serachus Jones, Frankinson Comio, Maximus Tubby Barrel, Twyla Fauntleroy, Booker Broadway, Cecile Dillard, Woobinson Morissette, Patty Thunder, Solomon Mathalon, Homer 3, Malik Madu, Agnes St. Hilary, Tucker Crunk, Sassini Borneus, Dayton Grunt, Turney Tuggle, Kloss Clot, Puddentame, Kalula Lewis, Chuck Justice, Leonard Long, Ignatius Chin, and my favorite, Guy Weedman. Thanks.